Alright, guys, back again. Missed you, my non-existent audience. Today, oh yeah, I'm FEMZ, by the way. So that's the way to pronounce my channel, FEMZ, So let's get to it. Today, I want to talk about the world and you. Alright. Now, what is the world? What is it? A lot of people have different, like the Christians will say, don't be of the world. Another group of people will say, be of the world, whatever. What the fuck is the world? I mean, I don't even know. Well, as far as we know, humanity as a whole, it's Earth and it's the planet we're on. Let's just put it like that. Now, you are a Homo sapien and you end at your arms, it's both legs, your both arms and your head. Okay, that's where you end. Now, you as like the human species, you're another thing, like you're in that thing and you're functioning in that thing, you have your role in that thing, and the human like species is doing its own thing, it has its own agenda. Let me just break that down. Even an event, you have your role to play in an event. You have your role to play as a student in a school. You have your role to play as a teacher in a class. Without you being there, like that event may die. Okay? Without you being there, that event may not be the same. But the world is not the same way. Okay? The world can exist without you. The world doesn't need emotions. The world doesn't need timing. The world doesn't need the concepts that we use to define it. The way we've applied language to personify the world and relate with it. That is not it. That is not the world. The true world is so magnanimous, it's so perfect, it's so interconnected, it is what it is in such a profound way that it will just evoke emotions out of you, but it's not trying to. Like you can just meet somebody and they can be so awestruck by you, but you're just there being yourself without sentiments. So that is the way the world is. It just is. Some of it eludes our scope of sight. Some of it eludes our natural scope of hearing. What technology has helped us to amplify does not help us to see what is not allowable to humans in the first place. Certain animals can see colors we can't see. Certain animals can hear frequencies we can't hear and move at speeds which we can't comprehend. Some animals exist on such a tiny scale, that we can't see it. So looking at that everything that is for us and everything that's for the world is for the world, including us, you just have to realize that what you're living in is not the world, it's a world, okay? And the A and the dimorphisms or the bifurcation of what I've said based on A and B, it should really clear up a lot of your doubts, because you're a human being, right? You played the role of believer or audience and you got told certain things, right? And now you're no longer in that position of audience. Now you're by yourself, you're alone, you're on an island, and you're battling the residue of the entity that you played a part in bringing to life. So it's kind of like your body rejecting, let's use Christianity as an example, because it's so strong such a strong such a strong program that a lot of people just see as fact and act the world. So let's just use that. So you enter like church, you do your churchly duties to make the church exist. You give it your time, attention, life force, and you come out of it, and now the church doesn't have any influence over you. You have to live your life, you have to pay bills, you have to contend with existence, right? And now, you have 21st century problems, you can't stop beating it. And there are numerous factors humans played into that aren't just surmisable as lost. You can't just say, oh, you have a lost problem, so cut your penis off, or something like the archaic means of solving problems that Christianity has, such as if your right eye is causing you to sin, cut it off. Like, sin just means error. You're allowed to make errors as a human being, and you're allowed to not be punished by them. Like, if it was such a grave error, nature would remove you. So for the fact that you can exist and you're allowed to exist under nature's law, you should be allowed to create constructs for yourself that benefit you, okay? And hopefully, if it gains enough power, it becomes part of the human world. So I'm going to speak about some concepts in my blog that have helped me really separate worlds apart. Like, you need more words because we live in a word world. You can only convey ideas through words and like auditory shit. Like, that's where it ends. And I mean, if we didn't have the faculty of sight or the faculty of hearing, I don't think we'd probably find a way to communicate, but we wouldn't be Homo sapien. Like, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be the big heralds of the planet. So I'm going to jump into these ideas now. Firstly, the two forces that I see battling for power, well, not battling for power, that just are, is art and programming, right? So art, in my definition, is like the ability to go from point A to point B. It's the ability to go from idea to creation, and everything that goes into that process is work. Now, programming is like, it requires the attention of a human being to survive. Like, now, church, school, standardized education, the German Prussian education model, militaries, fame, celebrities, that all these things are fake. All these things need thousands and thousands of lives, agreements, contracts, deals to be formed. People have to sign their lives away to make these structures or these hierarchies exist. Now, some of them could be positive. I'm not saying school is bad. I am in school. I'm in university. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that the nature of these things require blood sacrifice. They require the resignation of your own life processes to make the events occur. So, sure, you could say, as I've said, it's not bad, it just is. You could say something in favor of the program, but all I'm saying is that the benefits of a program are not as bountiful as that of an artistic endeavor, because you're playing a role. There's a script that millions have acted before you, and it's just your turn to act that script. But when you're doing an artistic work, it's something that hasn't been done before, because firstly, the time is different, the person is different, the era is different. How you are gonna transmogrify your thoughts from the primordial ooze through the medium to the idea is a process that is naturally beneficial to human beings. And you should choose the side of art. You should err on the side of art because it's where your power is. You know, you have power there. You can exercise your powers. You know, you can exercise your opposable thumbs. You can exercise your brain, your mind. You can solve problems. But if you're not doing that and you're just in a program, I mean, not the knowledge of the fact you're in a program can save you, but if you don't have knowledge of it, your existential nature is going to clash with the program. And then you're going to have a nature versus order situation. You're going to have a chaos. You're going to have a chaos versus order situation. And you're going to have existential dread because it is what it is. That's just what happens. So in my future videos, I'm going to be talking about the cultivation of power, how to do it naturally, and for you to do it to not attract, because you have to just be. So I'm going to share the paradigms I have in place that I've used to be an artist, and I'm going to share anecdotal evidence and talk about the type of emotions you need to have and the emotions you have to utilize in order to be that person that can achieve what you have dreamed up. And I feel like that is very important, you know, for your work, which is divine, to be beneficial to you and not raped from you by somebody benefiting from a program. You know, they're top of the hierarchy. Your pain, your money, and your time, and your blood, and your life force, you know, for an arbitrary, you know, like how many people are in school? How many people are in the military? How many people are in Hollywood's programs trying to be the next? You know, everybody's in the program for one hazy goal. It's crazy. People want to be sold to, you know, people want to have something to do. So naturally, this message is not even for the faint of heart. It's not for people who cannot sit in the infinite void. You know, if you can't tank Gojo Satoru's domain expansion, you should not listen to me. You should just try your best to be favored by the hegemon. You know, you can kiss ass, you know, like there are a lot of tactics that you can use to succeed in a program, but those aren't the same tactics that it takes to succeed as an artistic and creative being. You know, I speak on virtues, I speak on timeless work, I speak on getting a high score in life, the game of life, the human game of life, because, you know, Machiavelli put it, he shocked everybody in his time, and he continues to this day showing what somebody who just, a caveman who doesn't give a fuck about anything except power, what he'd do to get it, the killing, the sniping, the betrayal, all of that. You don't want to do that, okay? You don't want to become, I mean, if you want to be, fine, but that's the disclaimer, right? I'm just sharing my ideas. You know, I could be raising the next bad motherfucker for all I know. I don't care. I'm disclaiming, you know, LOL, limitation of liability. I'm just sharing my ideas. I'm trying to speak to my contemporaries who don't give a fuck. You know, so if you give a fuck and you're praying a program gives you something, then we have nothing further to discuss. Safe.